So now we're going to look at O of n squared. So I'm going to bring this back from the last video where we had one for loop after another, except what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this where we have one for loop inside of another. And when we do this, we're going to get a very different outcome. So now let's flip over to VS Code and take a look at this. So there is our new function there with our nested for loops, and we will run this with the number 10. So over with our output, I'm going to scroll to the top, and you can see that this starts with 0, 0, and then it will go all the way through to the bottom to 9, 9. So we passed this function the number 10, and it printed out 100 lines. So now let's flip back. So this ran n times, or n squared, and that is where we get O of n squared. But now I'm going to make a change to this function, and we're going to add a third for loop, and then we'll print out k from this for loop as well. So now we have a for loop within a for loop within a for loop. So now let's flip over and take a look at this in VS Code. And so there is our new print items function there. And then we'll run this with the number 10 down here. So I'll run this. And I'm going to scroll to the top again. And you can see that this starts out with 0, 0, 0. And then if I go all the way to the bottom, you can see that it goes to 9, 9, 9. So we passed this function a number 10, and it printed out 1,000 lines. So now let's flip back. This function ran n times n times n times, or n cubed. Or you could say O of n cubed. But as you may have guessed, with our rules of simplification, we don't call this O of n cubed. We're just going to call this O of n squared. So now let's take a look at O of n squared on our graph. And you can see that O of n squared grows much faster than O of n, which is to say it is a lot less efficient than O of n. So if you have two different ways that you could write a particular function, and one way is O of n squared, and the other way is O of n, that would mean that O of n is going to be the far better way to write that function. And O of n squared will be the least efficient big O that we will see in this course. And that is our overview of O of n squared.